Hello and welcome to episode 227 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
Yes, the Wall 77 Club on Facebook, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter. Please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can.
Jack Williams is here.
Good evening.
And Harry will start off with the trip to Old Trafford. 2-0 loss. Probably nothing out of the ordinary there. We don't go there very often and win. Obviously, the last time we did that, we did come away with 3 points. But that wasn't to be this time around.
Nope. And I didn't have too many complaints with the team. Obviously, the big news was Bentley in for Sarr, which I've been calling for weeks now. And he kept the rest of the team the same as the team that beat Villa. So I had no complaints. But in saying that, they did not turn up. It felt like all our squad was on the beach. And very underwhelming. It was a team that are mathematically safe. It was a team that know they've got nothing else to play for. And I don't think we had a shot on target, did we, thinking back?
No.
And it was very, very poor all round, apart from our goalkeeper.
I was going to say, Jack, Harry mentioned him there, Dan Bentley making his Premier League debut at 29 years old, and he probably stops it from being a similar situation to what we saw at Brighton.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm a bit like the Wolves team on this one because I sat this game out myself, really. If we'd have still been in a relegation scrap, I'd have definitely gone up to Manchester to watch it, but I just couldn't be blessed, really. I didn't even end up watching it live. And the only thing I've really seen is the highlights. And the highlights from our point of view is just 3 or 4 very good saves from Bentley. And reading the comments afterwards, that was the only real shining light, or maybe there's a few credits to Dawson as well. Apart from that, it just seemed very, very flat from what I saw, really. But I'll have to rely on you guys for the context and more than that. But he seemed to come in and do a good job. And do you think he'll keep his place now to the end of the season? Most probably so. But, It's a nothing game, really. I checked out of it. I think as soon as I've hit the 40 points mark, I just want to get this season a little bit over and done with, really, to be honest with you. So it's one of those things, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
See you next week, guys.
At least I've turned up. Bailey's going to be asked to turn up. So,
Harry, where'd you go from here? Because it was an impressive debut. He wasn't put off by the occasion. It's obviously a huge thing for him to be making his debut in the Premier League, considering his age. I know keepers go on a little bit longer, but normally you'll have a few more top flight games under your belt, especially if you're that level. But I thought he had a brilliant game and probably just what we need and probably what Sarr needs as well.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's only one game, so I don't want to get too carried away. But I said on my video, after as debuts go, obviously it'd have been better if he'd have kept a clean sheet and would have won. But apart from that, he was brilliant. It went perfect for him. He pulled off 3 outstanding saves that were down low. He had to get down quick. His distribution of his feet, I thought, was really good, and with his long throws out, which created a few chances at counter attacks. Mm-hmm. It was just nice to have a goalkeeper in goal that you didn't start shitting your pants when we were passing it around the back and give it to him because he was very comfortable with his feet. And it's really interesting to see what will happen. If it was me, I would play him for the next 2 games. Definitely. I think after that performance, he deserved it because he got his chance and he took it with both hands. Don't mind the pun there. But yeah, brilliant. Brilliant from him. Just to mention a few, just defensively, I think Jack mentioned Dawson, but Kilman really struggled, I thought. He was at fault for the first goal, getting caught out of position. But like I say, apart from Bentley, you can't really sing anyone else's praises in our team. They just went through the motions, really.
Was Bentley any good? Sorry, was he any good when the ball was rolled back to him? Because I know that's one of our friends' hates with Sarr, that when he has the ball rolled back to him, he just scuffs it. It was quite a lot.
Right at the beginning. His first thing he did with his feet is he tried to ping one out to Totti left back, and he overhit it and he went out for a throw in. And I was thinking, oh no, here we go. We've got someone worse than Sarr with their feet. But after that, everything was fine. He was comfortable. His long balls were good with his feet. As I say, his throwing. You didn't feel worried. What I will say is though, their strikers didn't really hunt him down, really go for him type thing, which Sarr's had to deal with sometimes. Like I say, it's one game, so don't want to get too carried away. But from that performance alone, like I say, it looks good. It looks really good.
I think Jack was making the point there, though, that maybe it's in a similar vein to the signing of Craig Dawson, is that you've actually got someone coming in and doing the job that you'd expect them to do. So, even with Patricio and Sarr, distribution, you'd probably say, in terms of kicking, and I know you made the point, Harry, just really, really hasn't been there since we've returned to the Premier League, certainly. So I suppose when you see someone doing it properly, you think, oh my God, we've got a player here. But I'm guessing it's probably just a case of that's how it should be.
Yeah, but Sarr's strengths are his shot stopping, and Bentley was also doing that. As I mentioned, the free saves he pulled off. Yeah, I think he was absolutely brilliant.
I think we'll have to see how the next 2 games go before we get carried away. But are you potentially thinking that he might either A, keep Sarr out of his place, or B, Sarr might move on, and then we've got basically a shrewd sort of replacement, kind of like a Dawson-like signing, which hasn't broke the bank, but can still, do just as good a job, if not better.
Yeah, they haven't signed him for no reason, have they? They've obviously took a long look at him and they know what he can do. And it's known that Lopetegui likes keepers that are comfortable with their feet, and Sarr just isn't, is he? So, but it's weird with Sarr because he's against Palace at home and against Villa at home, he was outstanding. Like, he pulled off some amazing saves, didn't he? So he's away performances. So maybe Lopetegui was thinking, look, away at Brighton, he was horrendous. Give away a penalty away at Leicester. We're going to Old Trafford. He's had a bit of a nightmare away from home now. Let's play Bentley. But I hope he fights for his place. I hope Sarr can show a bit of, fight to get his place back.
I suppose it is and it isn't weird timing because, like you say, he made a cracking save from John McGinn in the Villa game and that sort of secured survival, and then to get dropped. But I suppose, he is a former keeper, Lopetegui. So I guess he'll know the ins and outs of how it might work and when you maybe need a break from it. And sort of, I guess he's got an arm around Sarr, Jack, saying, we're safe now. It's job done. I want to look at the other guy. I hope you don't mind.
Well, yeah, but as an ex-keeper, he should have high standards. It's his go-to position. So, like you say, he should be the position that he probably demands the most out of from his players. It's nice that we've got 2 options that we're talking about that potentially can do a job. But obviously, we need to probably have a bit of a longer look at Bentley. But when you've played that many games, albeit in the Championship, you obviously know what you're doing between the sticks, don't you? So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, the bigger picture sort of thing, losing 2-0 and just sort of rolling over again and getting our belly tickled, not quite as bad as Brighton. It's just this away form, I'm just not comfortable with it. And it seems to be more of a problem, really, because when we've only had 2 away wins all season, it just seems like it's far too easy all the time. And then the annoying thing is, as soon as we're back at Molineux, we're a different side altogether. I don't know what it is. And I don't want to turn into one of these teams that is just really good at home and their away form is terrible, because under the Nuno era, it didn't matter where we were playing, home or away. It would be the same thing, and we grind out results away from home, whether it be against the biggest teams in the league. So that's something we just need to be careful of, and hopefully something to work on. But I mean, our last game away from home is Arsenal away, and I know that they've bottled the league, so anything can happen. But I can't see us getting much from that either, really, the way it's going. When we're for the last 2 away games, we're scored 2 and let in 8. Scored 0, letting 8. 2 would be great.
Imagine the dizzy heights of 2. Harry, probably a player that we didn't really expect to probably pull on a Wolves shirt again was Raul Jimenez. Made a little bit of a cameo at the end.
Yeah, and he got a really good reception from the away end as well. Obviously, I watched it on a stream, and yeah, they were blasting out the song. And as subs on the day, although I think, to be honest, I've absolutely slagged Podence off a lot. And out of the 4 that come on, obviously Hwang, Adama and Raul. Those 3, as Adama, Hwang and Raul were awful for me. Like, they were so bad. Podence was like frustrating because he was trying his fancy little flicks, but he was most effective. He was the one who made the most positive, things happen in the final third. But yeah, on Raul, I was thinking to myself, come on, have the fairy tale ending, banging an equaliser like 89th minute or something, but he didn't have a sniff. But it was nice to see him, I guess.
Do you think it's last chance saloon for Podence, Jack?
No, not really. I know it's weird the way it is with Lopetegui, with players sort of being the main man 1 week and then 2 weeks later you can't even get in the squad. But without Podence's goals this season, we keep saying it, we wouldn't be safe yet, I don't think. So that's, I know there's no room for sentiment, but you've got to give him that credit. And there definitely is talent there. And I think there's more talent there in than some of the other players that are on the fringes, really. I think, going back to what Harry said about the fairy tale ending, if there is going to be a fairy tale ending with Raul, it will come at the Emirates last game. He'll score, because that's obviously the scene of his horrific injury. And it'll probably just, bounce off his head and go in somehow, and that'll be it. But it'd be nice to have some sort of ending like that. But I can't really see it at the moment, to be honest with you, with the way it's going. But
it's funny with Podence, because I think the post on the Facebook page, Harry, like, it seems to have completely split fans 50-50. So you've got someone like Craig saying constantly falling over, looking for the foul and showboating flicks, back heels. Our wingers won't be good enough this season. Hopefully Neto and Chiquinho step up next season. Then you've got people like David saying he remains our biggest goal threat. How can he be ignored? So, he is splitting opinion. I mean, Jack makes the point of, take out his goals and we wouldn't be safe. But to be honest, we're so low scoring. If you take out Nunez's goal against Chelsea, we'd probably be struggling as well. So, when you're a low-scoring team and you take a couple of goals out, chances are it's going to impact you in a negative way.
Yeah, he's literally Marmite, isn't he? Let's be honest. He is a Marmite player. Like you said, can score a goal, composed in front of goal, can sometimes make things happen, but a lot of the time, he's really, really frustrating. And he's a player you want on your team when you're on the front foot constantly attacking, not when you're hitting teams on the counter or you're under a bit of pressure, because he won't hardly track back. If you hit teams on the counter, he get the ball, try a Maradona twist and a bloody 360 head spin and then lose it. So he's just good to have when you're trying to break teams down, I guess, like in the whole doing these little quick turns, low centre of gravity. And as we know, when he gets in front of goal, he's got the composure to finish. Away at Everton, huge goal, great finish. Away at Forest, that equaliser, another really good big goal. West Ham at home, the 1-0, that finish. So, he has scored important goals and he has got a cool, he's cool in front of goal as well. His composure is really good.
Do you think the players also might be a little, you say they're on the beach, but also a little unsettled because we've seen a lot of articles flying around already about who's going to be here next season or who'll be moving on, and also talk about the wage bill and these sorts of things flying about, which probably will unsettle the players. And players who are out of contract, as we know, particularly or out of contract very soon. You mentioned him just with Adama, but Adama hasn't looked interested for a fair few games now, I don't think. So I think mentally he's one of the players who he thinks he's moving on. Probably no one will want him again. That will happen and he'll come back. But there's probably a few in that sort of same position, really. And it seems like, I know it's kind of the start of a new era under Lopetegui, but there's quite a few that people are touting that could move on, really. And the one thing I've liked about recent months is that we've had quite a big squad, and I don't want us to go back to the bare bones again, and we can't just be shipping everyone out all of a sudden. So I think we need to be a little bit cautious there and not just write people off immediately.
No, Adama, bloody hell, like when he come on against Villa, he didn't look interested. Obviously, coming on against Man United again, he was crying out for him as well to come on. It always is, isn't it? When we're sitting back, you always think get Adama on. But if he ain't interested, he ain't interested. He ain't running for nothing. He ain't busting his gut to get in any positions that are good. And that's the mindset he's in at the moment because he knows he's leaving, which is a shame. It's a shame.
It is, yeah.
I've been of the same mentality now for years that any game pretty much where it's not going our way or we're not creating, I'll get Adama on. And is that because Adama's great or because we haven't got anything else? Is that just because he's the only option? That's the thing I'm starting to think about now. But
it's because if he stretches his legs and we get a team on the break, he's the most effective, isn't he? But then he gets it into the stand.
When's that last happen now?
Exactly.
Everyone just thinks of Man City.
Man City away.
Yeah. Well, he's so frustrating, but he's so unique in a way that you can be, you can have that much of a non-impact on games on a regular basis, but you're still on the edge of your seat thinking, this is going to be the moment. No, this is going to be the moment. It's going to happen now. And the moment never comes, but, we're still sitting there going, it's crying out for him. And realistically, there's absolutely nothing to back that up, is there?
He must have had so many coaches over the years who he just they do their brains in because they're thinking like, what is going on here? Because this player could be one of the best in the world, and something just doesn't quite click every now and then, and it's 50-50 in it. So
he strikes me as a player as well who wants to be loved, who wants like a manager to put their arm around him, say, "Oh, you're brilliant." Whereas I don't think Lopetegui is that kind of. I said the other week that in that one game when he's going absolutely mental at him for not showing himself for Sarr. So I don't think he'd like that either.
Something's just come to me also. Did any of you see that video? Which was, I don't know, someone must put it on TikTok or Instagram where he's just absolutely smacking Cunha for some reason. I'm guessing he's been winding him up. But it's a bit of it's a bit unprofessional and a bit schoolboy, isn't it, really? Particularly, it's, you can't really be doing that. I know they're messing about, but it looked like it bloody hurt.
Yeah, they look like proper. They look like proper punches. They did. They'd have knocked out the average man, I think.
Couldn't normally hit a barn door. He got all those shots on target. Cunha must be thinking, what are the chances?
Well, I thought he was going to start throwing the punches, and I thought he was going to swing and hit the clock above him, like he does the South Bank clock.
Right. Well, I know we were saying that the players may be on the beach or a little bit unsettled, but I mean, Wolves still have a part to play in who gets relegated from the Premier League. Not so much of a say of who wins it, as Jack mentioned earlier. I think Arsenal have probably bottled that, although exceeded expectations. Let's be fair. Harry, next up, Everton at home. Home form has been absolutely brilliant this season. Is it 10 or 11 clean sheets? This is a huge game for Everton. They realistically need to win it. I think they're just outside the relegation zone at the moment by a single point. But anything can happen. It's very, very tight at the bottom. How do you think this one will play out? Because this could be the last home game. I know we mentioned it before to see some of the players that maybe won't be here next season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game because obviously the aspect of Everton, their away end is going to be rocking because they know they need the 3 points, so they're going to be loud in voice. The Everton, obviously coming off the back of that 5-1 away at Brighton, they're going to be very confident they can get something. And then you've got us, last game of the season, you want to impress the home fans. You want, like you say goodbye to a few players that are going to be going. So hopefully, because of that we actually are up for it and put in a better performance we did at United. Because if we don't, we could get turned over quite heavily, I think, if we don't try. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be a really good atmosphere because obviously Wolves fans, well, like me personally, I'm not that keen on Everton, especially with the Cody thing and that. Mm-hmm. So it'd be really nice to beat them and be a reason why they go down. So I think it might be a bit of a spicy one.
Yeah, I don't really care that much about Everton, to be honest. The one thing I probably disagree with slightly with Harry is the fact that their away end will be rocking because they will be bricking it. It will only take one goal suddenly and their entire mood will change. Having been in that situation many times when battling against relegation towards the end of the season and it's a game that you think is a winnable game and suddenly for the first 10-15 minutes you're seeing your boys not turn up, it can get very heated very quickly. I mean, their last two games are against us and Bournemouth. So they'll be looking at that thinking, if they can't get enough points already being outside the relegation zone to stay up against two teams who are basically safe with nothing to play for and are only a few points above them really, have been in the mix for relegation themselves this season, it will be their own fault really. But, it doesn't work like that really. It's going to be a scrap until the end, isn't it? So we'll see. I really just don't know who's going to turn up or not because if our players are, at least say, mentally on the beach, we could go another 2 games without a point and just sort of go the season out on the whimper really, but it doesn't matter too much. But at the same time, our home form's been good and I think people would just like to put it into Everton, as you say, just because it's funny. They've never been relegated from the Premier League.
No, they've never known them in Arsenal.
So there's that there, and obviously as Harry mentioned, there's that bit of spice from the Cody situation. So yeah, I just don't know really. These games towards the end of the season, these games like this are like a bookmaker's nightmare because how do you price this game up? Really, Wolves have got really good home form, although haven't had a great season. Everton need to stay up and have had a crap season. Wolves are at home. How would you price it up? It's impossible. It's a real nightmare. So who knows?
Harry, would you make any changes?
Wow, that's a good question actually, because I don't know what he'll do. I hope he does start Bentley again. I think he deserves it. But then do you know what? I'd love to see him start Collins. I'd slot Collins in for Kilman just because I think he deserves a start, to be honest. He's been on the sidelines for a while. He ain't complained, has he? He's just got on with it. But apart from that, maybe, would you want to see Gomez in there? I don't know. But I think we will see changes. I don't think he'll start the same team because Costa and Cunha, I love them together. They didn't do much against United, but I must say they didn't get much supply either. But they've been really good together in our last few home games. So it'd be really interesting to see what he does, actually. I'm not sure what he'll do.
So, Jack, any for you?
I was just going to say, let's do it with 2 games left. Feasibly, there's what? I mean, Forest have got 34 points now themselves, so that could be enough as it stands. But Leicester, Leeds, Everton. Everton, as we said, have got us and Bournemouth. Leeds have got West Ham and Tottenham. Leicester have got Newcastle and West Ham. West Ham are going to have a say in this, whatever happens. And Forest, just in case.
And they've got Liverpool last game.
Arsenal and Palace. Oof. Who's going down?
I think Leeds are gone.
I think it is.
I think Leeds and Leicester. I think Leeds and Leicester have got the point to prove, haven't they? Really, because they're in the relegation zone now. Forest have got that gap of a couple of extra points compared to the others, and Everton on paper, both their games are winnable. Let's be honest. So, I think Leeds and Leicester are the ones with the point to prove. And Leeds going down is funny. Oh God, my computer's gone off.
yeah.
Just went to sleep then.
Not that boring. Score prediction, Harry.
I'm gonna just get this comment from Kawatic Rager. I completely agree. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Everton.
Says love us to beat Everton, but Wolves being Wolves, I can see Everton being the better team. Anything can happen at home, though. I think, like Jack says, the home form. Jack, score prediction?
I was going to say 2-1 Everton as well. So pile on, listeners. That's two of us with the same idea.
Let's get your latest betting odds, and if there is any, some ticket news.
Do you want me to start, Jack?
Yeah, you take it away.
So you mentioned just about the odds and how the book is seeing it. So a Wolves to win is 17-10, and Everton win is 8-5. So that's Is that an Everton favourites?
Genuinely don't know how to price it. That's
and a 23-10 for the draw. So that's close, is it, Jack? I think that is that.
I didn't hear the first price, mate. What was
17-10? We are 8-5 Everton.
Oh yeah, very close. Yeah,
very close. So they're not sure. Some boosts. Dwight McNeil 1 shot on target. They've boosted that to evens. Semedo to commit 2 fouls 6-4. Decore and Dwight McNeil both to score 16-1. So it's all like mainly Everton things that they're back in. Because obviously they think we're on the beach. 2-1 Everton, which we both predicted, is 17-2. But so is 2-1 Wolves. That's also 17-2. 4-1 Wolves 66-1. 4-1 Everton, 66-1. So, like you say, the book is don't know what's going to happen here, and it's very, very tight and even. That's what she said.
This is the sort of game where you think there could be quite a few goals, really, because Everton have got to go for it. We're a bit, on the beach and letting a lot lately. So it could be a thriller. It could be 0-0. No idea. Ticket news. So there isn't any really. One observation that I've made, which is kind of interesting, is that I said for the Arsenal tickets a few weeks ago that there was this claim that they were going to put names on tickets and ID people as they're entering the turnstiles.
Yeah.
All of this probably come about because when they put this together, there was a chance that Arsenal fans would be trying to get into the away end and Wolves fans selling their tickets for stupid money, which, let's be honest, we'll all have considered if it was a nothing game for us and somebody put 10 grand cash on the table. Like you'd think about it, wouldn't you? So the funny thing about this is the tickets have started being sent out and they've just got names written in pen on them. It's nothing sophisticated at all. It's just got a biro. So firstly, I'm thinking that this isn't actually going to happen, particularly now, because Arsenal aren't going to be in a title contention race by now. But the one thing that I've noticed, which is interesting, is there's still tickets left for it. Still tickets in the away end. Now, usually, I think these tickets would have been gone by the very start of this week, but they go on sale tomorrow to season ticket holders with 1,080 points. So that's basically just eight away or cup games you've been to all season. You've got a chance at a ticket for Arsenal away, which, if they hadn't put this rule in, we would never have got that close at all. So I think that goes to show that there's a lot of people constantly who are moving on tickets, and what the club choose to do about that. Now they've probably learnt this information, which they kind of already knew, will be interesting to see. And I hope it's not the start, as I said previously, of them doing this sort of thing to scare people for every away game in the future. Although I don't think they will. I think this is just because it was potentially going to be a special occasion.
Unpopular opinion, I like it.
Well, yeah, quite. I mean,
as someone who never goes.
Well, because you can't get a ticket.
Exactly.
Which route do you think it will go down, though, Harry? Because it could be that people genuinely want the points because they'll have, an eye on the bigger away days, but also maybe potentially head in the sky Europa League games or games in Europe. Do you think they'll just not go, or do you think they'll send them back? I mean, do you think they'll...
I think nothing will change. I think they threaten this every so often. It never gets enforced, because if they genuinely stood there and checked everybody's ID to match up to tickets, there'd be queues flying miles outside the stadium and no one would get in. So they're not going to do it. They threaten it. They might check the odd one just to try and catch the odd one out to send a message. But then they come next season, no one will be talking about it and it'll be back to no check-in. I have never had my ticket checked at any away game or home game in my life. I've never had my ID checked to a ticket.
No. They have been sending out warnings apparently to people at home who home season tickets who they think they've asked a few people. I've seen it popping up on Twitter. People who they said, if you want your ticket for this game, you can't use your card. You've got to pop into the ticket office and show ID before. So they obviously do think that some tickets are being moved on. So I think the thing is, you can crack down on it at home, but asking a different club to enforce your ticket policy at an away ground on a match day, who's paying for that? And it's not in their interest to. So that's why I don't think it will actually happen.
Was that Brighton, Jack? We saw that lad got dobbed. Brighton dobbed on a Wolves fan to Wolves.
They did, yeah.
Brighton did, apparently. I mean, but I don't understand why.
So the lad, what happened was, I read the little thread the bloke put on. I forget his name now. I'm sorry if I doubt he's listening. But so he couldn't go. Obviously, passed his tickets on or told someone to get his tickets. And he said to him, go and collect the tickets from the Brighton stadium. Where they went to collect it. And then they said, the people on the desk were like, well, can you show me your ID? The ID didn't match. They explained the situation. They were like, yeah, fine. But then as soon as the tickets were given to them, they got on the phone to Wolves. They said, by the way, I don't know, John Smith has give 2 of his tickets away to Sally and Morgan.
So if you pick up on the day, they always ID. That is a thing. So that's why you need to get them posted in advance, really. But
the club contacted him and they rang him, warned him, and he explained the situation. He said they let him off.
Yeah. So maybe they are going to start cracking down on it, really. But I don't know how I feel about it, because I think the result of this, ultimately, I know it'd be better for the fans who don't always get tickets, is that there will be various people, and I'm not saying that I will be excluded from this, who will just buy the tickets to keep the points and not go to the games and can't go.
That's what I was saying, yeah, whether that would be the case.
And I think that will... And then you've got to go down the route of, can you check that everyone's ticket's been used? And that's just a whole different ballgame in itself, to even trying to check the tickets as they go in. So there's no perfect solution to this, we've said before. But I think the fact they brought in the ballot, though, has appeased a lot of these people who said they'd never get away tickets, because potentially then there's 150 fans at every away game who can at least go to a couple of seasons. So
I was unsuccessul on every attempt this year. Obviously,
it's
a slim chance.
Really?
It's a slim chance, but yeah.
I've heard about people who've got quite a few. So what I think they need to do to tweak it is, once you've been successful, you can't be successful in the next X amounts, work out how many it is. So it rotates around. Because if you've got people who are getting 3 or 4 a season from the ballot and you haven't got any, Harry, that's crap. Right.
Yeah, always comes back. They tell you either way, which is good. I always get the email back, get excited, then it says unsuccessful. Oh.
You come second in the Biggest Loser competition, Aaron. Right, let's have a look at some transfer rumours. It is that time of year where we're trying to hold on to assets. We know some of them are going to go. Some stories pop up that we think, where did that come from? Liam Keane, Harry, at Express and the Star, I think has made a little bit of a bombshell on Twitter. I think he maybe since deleted some of them, but picked up on a couple of things. One of them being the links to George Mendes, and Wolves looking to possibly come away from sort of his inner workings and transfers through him. There were then rumours on Twitter that he tried to push Wolves towards other transfers instead of Craig Dawson, then helping, was it Lyon Marseille, to secure the services of João Gomez. So it all seems like a little bit up in the air at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm just going to pull this comment up because I'll be honest, this is news to me. Like Matthew, one of the first comments we've had tonight. So is this true, what you've just said then? So Liam Keane put an article up and he's had to take a lot of it down about Mendes and that.
I haven't seen it. I thought the bit he took down, this is just from glancing through Twitter before this, was about João Gomez. So the João Gomez bit specifically is what I saw, but enlighten us in the comments if that's not correct. And it's mental that he's come out and then had to change it, though, isn't it? That's interesting.
Well, that's what Matthew's put. He's put, it's mental. He's even deleted the Mendes part. So I mean, Liam Keane, I like Liam Keane. I think he's been really good since he's took over the Express and Star. So this is probably one of his first. This is one of his first blunders, I guess. I don't actually know the full details, but on Mendes, if those stories are true, well, that's hot. Because there's also, I read that they want to come away from him a bit, don't they?
Yeah,
that's their aim, to come away from him a bit. But it's all a big game, isn't it? We don't know what's true. You hear things off various people. He's been very good for us, Mendes. But was there one about Lamina as well? He was saying to like Jeff and that Lamina won't go to you. So there was a few questionable things in there, but we don't know the truth, do we? And obviously Liam Keane don't either, by the sounds of it.
Let's be honest. If we've got one criticism, which obviously Mendes and Fosun under this era, they've been brilliant for us on the whole. They've taken us to heights which we could only dream of. We were playing in Europe a few years ago. The one criticism I'd have about the transfer policy is, well, two criticisms. The first is we get quite a bit wrong. The second is we don't take advantage of the domestic market enough at all. And Bentley and Dawson are two examples of how that we should be doing that more. And if Mendes is restricting us in that, then we do need to look at and pursue other options. Because if Craig Dawson was Portuguese and called Craigio Dawsonio, he'd have probably been here straight away, but for 4 times the amount of money.
Look at Bennett and Ruddy. Bennett and Ruddy in the Championship as well was a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're homegrown players as well, so that you need them. There's quotas to tick, and and all that sort of thing.
In that article as well, obviously the big talking point was FFP, wasn't it? The financial fair play again,
which was a shock to me. This is the thing. I didn't realise. I knew we have to consider it after we got that little slap on the wrists, probably in our European season, because breaching financial fair play. But when we're talking about, I don't know if we can extend Semedo's contract by 2 years, that sounds like we're skint. That's worrying. That is, that's worrying really. A player's wages spread over a 2-year period, which helps financial fair play in the way you structure it. Then we are in real doo-doo, and
sell to buy.
That's what it'll be. Well, yeah, I mean, then in that case, Neves has to move on to give us at least some options, and it makes you think about why have we spent 30 million on Kuna. I know we needed to invest to get us out of relegation. It's worked. We've taken a gamble. It's worked. We were paying Costa a lot of money probably every week, and now we have to probably take our foot off the gas and see where we stand financially. But I didn't think it was anywhere near as bad as maybe we can't renew or trigger Semedo's 2-year option when the player wants to stay. He wants to stay.
Well, exactly.
And we want him to stay.
The one of the players actually does want to stay. Well, I suppose, Harry, if you're taking players like Moutinho, who will probably be one of the highest paid players, Jimenez, Diego Costa, obviously, off the wage bill, you can look at the free transfer market. Now, Adrian's put in the comments, is anyone interested in Oxlade-Chamberlain on a free? I think Liverpool have released 4 players today, and I'd take a look at a couple of them, because one is it Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Firmino, and James Milner. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't. He's a little bit old, I think. But
he's going to Brighton, isn't he, Milner? I think.
Is he really? Wow. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Was Lucas Moore on a free? The one we mentioned the other week. Is he free agent as well?
Yeah, I think he will be. So, I mean, imagine if we do, like Jack makes a point of saying, look, we should be looking in the domestic market, but also maybe looking at some free transfers just to bolster those positions that need it. And if they're bigger money signings because they're coming towards the end of their career, they'll be replacing the big money players that we have on the books that won't be there next season. So there's potential to be a little bit more clever than we maybe have been in previous years in picking up some free transfers.
Yeah, it'd be so refreshing if they do pick up free transfers, like domestic ones, like we've said, and not just go with Mendes clients and things like that. Just on it, I think you were going to bring it up anyway, Sam, but Neves, again, this never-ending drama and story with Raul, with Ruben Neves. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? And obviously the latest, which has been in all the articles, by the way, again, I can't remember, I think it was Football Insider, said that if Barcelona, who don't seem that keen on him, don't want Neves, he is willing to sign a new contract and stay. So we might not free up his wages and we might not get the money we need. And also, this time last year, I said to you boys, and though I know someone who knows a really good friend of Neves, and it's one of them like, do I believe it? Anyway, he said last year he'll definitely stay, and he did. And they're saying it again. They're confirming what that story said. If Barcelona don't get Neves, he don't want to go somewhere in England, and he's willing to stay if Barcelona don't take him. So we could see Neves staying if rumours are to be believed, but I'm not sticking my neck on the line this time because
you just have.
I suppose.
You're going to do a Liam Keane and delete this podcast.
Yes, I will. You'll to see a big missing piece of this podcast.
Yeah. Chunk missing on YouTube. Yeah. No, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens, definitely. But I mean, the other rumours, which I think for me would be more concerning, is the Lopetegui and Matt Hobbs to Spurs rumours. Harry, what do you think of those? Do you think there's any legs in those?
So, obviously, we mentioned the Garth Crooks, didn't we? His team of the week and him talking about Lopetegui being a good fit for Spurs. But it surprised me that the rumour is that they like Hobbs as well. I mean, Hobbs has done a very good job since he's took over from Scott Sellers. Obviously, it's gone really well for him. Lopetegui, with the job he's done, he's always going to be linked. Our managers are always linked with that kind of job. Obviously, Nuno ended up going there after he left us. So, I I don't know if I believe it. I can understand why they would be looking at someone like Lopetegui, if the Spurs board. But even if they were interested, surely Lopetegui, if he's promised to be backed in the right way by the board, I think he'd want to stay. Surely,
I don't think he'd have come to Wolves if there hadn't been those reassurances. Exactly. But Jack, he must be looking at Spurs and going, they're not going to have Kane. For starters, he's gone in the summer for me. They're not going to have Son. I think he's on his way as well. And also, they can't seem to keep a manager for a full season or at least more than one. So what would attract him about Spurs, apart from the money? And I doubt he's on a pittance here.
Yeah, just the money, really. And it is a big risk for him. But, he's taken risks in the past that haven't paid off and still got a good reputation.
True.
I think that the only reason that he would leave here, like Harry said, is if the promises that were made when we got him in November, December last year weren't kept. And I was quite surprised to see there's even question marks about it, because it sounds like they're going to sit down and have a conversation when the season's done. I just assumed he'd be staying because he's the main man now. You've got to give him what he wants. And if he says, I want this, this and this, you've got to find a way to deliver on it. But those words of financial fair play, which to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about until it was mentioned this week, have come round. And if that is restrictive, then I don't know what to do, really. Like these other clubs, they find a way around it, don't they? And it sounds
they write a check. You write a check.
Look at Chelsea.
Exactly. Chelsea can spend hundreds of millions on rubbish. And I know obviously they're bigger clubs, they're bigger worldwide brands. Man City just sell their stadium to themselves 10 times, and that's okay. By the looks of it.
Yeah, well, that's right.
But if you're us, then you have to be more careful. And I know we're not as big a brand. We don't make as much globally as these big 6 teams do. But there's got to be a way around it. And if it takes a big injection of cash from Fosun and they just write off any existing debt we've got again, that's what we've got to do. I'm sorry, that's what we've got to do. And I know they've spent a lot and they've put us in a good position, but I think we're at the level that we are sustainable. But even to stay in the Premier League at a sustainable level, you need to keep putting money in these days.
Yeah, even to stay still, you need to spend, because if you don't, you're done. I think Southampton sort of learned that the hard way. They came away completely from their model, didn't they? And now they've been relegated. Another one that's on the radar of Liverpool, apparently, Harry, is the 14-year-old Harvey Owen, academy defender for Wolves. £800,000, apparently. Been at Wolves since he was 7. He's been part of England at youth levels as well. But I don't know what the draw is and what the rules are at this stage. I guess they offer him a scholarship, an apprenticeship, and they get him that way. But that seems like a lot of money for a 14-year-old. I mean, he could be the next big thing. He could be Zeli Ismail.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never heard of this lad. I'll be honest. I've never seen him play or anything, as I'm not guessing many Wolves fans have. But like you say, when the big pressure's on with transfers like this at that age, it can flop on its ass. So it'd be interesting if he does go. He must be a serious talent for him to want to.
I think he's always played in like a couple of their age groups above his level. But I mean, that's
a good sign, isn't it?
It's a good sign. It's not unheard of though. But yeah, I mean, it would be a shame to lose.
What position does he play?
Defender.
Do we know? If he's a striker, I'd have just put him in Saturday.
Oh, God. Let's talk about next VAR. So this week, PGMOL released some footage and some audio, a couple of games, just to sort of give fans a little bit more of a background of what's going on in the background. We've got one here, which is from a game. Is it a Chelsea... West Ham or West Ham Newcastle, I think it is.
Yeah.
So I think by the powers that be, Harry's going to add that in, and then we'll have a listen to this. I mean, you can probably just about see it on YouTube.
So that's frame 2. Okay, this is really close. So I'm going to need lines on this, please.
Sure.
Yeah. Crosshairs.
So which defender do you want on?
Defender's 24 by the looks of it.
24.
I will need to check
on the far side.
Yeah, let's have a look at this guy on the far side. Go to the far side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking my other angles.
Yeah, okay. Craig, this is tight, so just going to have to use crosshairs to get to a decision here.
Okay. Do you want to tell me left or right?
Yeah, just slightly left.
Left, yeah.
One there, that's really one more, please, over his heel.
Checking it.
There you go.
On his heel,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really
thanks.
tight.
That's up to us.
Okay, let's Can I just check with the line with the 24?
24, yeah. Which body
Yeah,
part?
that's okay. So no, I don't need anything else now. That's fine. He's
Sure.
clearly the last defender on the far side. Now on the attacker, please.
On the attacker, yeah.
The attacker is clearly shoulder that's the lead, the furthest part.
Yeah. Sure, okay.
And one more frame to the left.
One to the left there.
Yep. Okay, you can lock that in.
Lock that in, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, happy to confirm those lines.
Happy to confirm. Okay. Craig, the decision is the lines have come out as onside, so I'm going to recommend that you award the goal, and the recommendation is you award the goal.
Okay, thank you.
So there you have it. I mean, it sounds chaotic. It's always going to be chaotic just because it's a pressure situation. But Harry, do you think that would help hearing that, or do you think that it's something that you would need to see after the game, and it would make more sense when we're sort of breaking down what we see?
Yeah, I like the word in. I recommend you award the goal. It's like they're trying not to have responsibility. It's chaos. And listening to that. Imagine being the referee having that going off in your ear. I wonder why they stand there like that with their hand on their ear, like shooing everyone away. But I've listened to a few of them. That wasn't the only one, was it? And there's that one when he's going delay, the linesman when it's offside. But it is nice to listen to it. It's carnage. I know, like when Sky Sports, like Gary Neville and that, they hear it, don't they, while they're on air? So when like Gary Neville goes, "Oh, I think they're going to give this offside," he knows they are because you can hear him talking about it in his ear. But yeah, if you as a spectator, would you want to hear that straight away? I suppose it would, make it less annoying if you could hear why. But yeah, they're never going to play it in stadiums, are they? Let's be honest. But it's nice they've released it. I think it's a step forward that they've actually chose to release some of the footage, and hopefully it can make them put their ideas up a bit and maybe show it on telly as games are going, which would, as I say, be good.
And Jack, it's almost a first sign of accountability, isn't it? And I don't know if we're in a situation, or whether you're of the opinion that you don't really want to see referees after the game. And then you imagine having Mike Dean back when he was referee, and in front of the cameras, he wants to make it the Mike Dean show at the best of times. I mean, do we want to keep them away from the cameras, but sort of have evidence of how they came to their decision?
I'd like to hear the referee speak on the pitch. I think that would be helpful. Obviously, there'd be a lot of background swearing, which is why it probably can't feasibly be done in this country. But from listening to that,
you could then, Jack. Sorry to butt in. The referee was saying then the one that's going deck.
Yeah, but
that was the referee shouting.
I mean, just hearing that, I think would be okay. When he's talking to a player, when they zone in sometimes on what he's telling them off, like in rugby, really, when they're explaining the decision, they can just cut and just hear that rather than the background nonsense as well.
Yeah.
But the thing that that was just a shit show, to be honest. Just even listening to it was painful. And the thing that really baffled me is I naively was under the impression that all of this, when they've said that this stuff's definitely correct, it's 100% fine, we've got everything right, the frames, I thought that was decided by a computer, not basically a Wally, someone's dad going, a bit to the left, off his elbow, a bit left, like he's putting up a painting. Or it's his first time using Internet Explorer. It's like, it's basically, I don't understand it. That's all it is. It's like, I think it might be there. Go to his left. Little frame that way. Little frame this way. Definitely offside. 100% offside.
And
bollocks,
it goes back to human error as well, because there has been a few occasions this year, the one at Arsenal, where they just forgot to check one of the offside. So it's human error again, isn't it? Where they were like, sorry, we forgot to do that one. It would have been offside if we'd have checked.
If you're going to bring in technology, I want the technology running it, not just morons with a mouse.
I like that. Yeah. Just get ChatGPT on the case. I'm sure it'll replace us all soon. There's a story that came out this evening. Ivan Toney has been banned for his part in a betting scandal. 8 months is what he's got. 232 breaches of the FA's betting rules. He's been charged £50,000. He won't be allowed to play again until the 17th of January 2024. So in terms of the number of games, it's actually a fair few. The time of the year that it's come out has meant that he's going to be taking in a couple of months of the summer, Harry. I think your reaction to when you first saw the news was, that's harsh.
Yeah, it is, but I just heard the total of the amount of bets that I can see. Well, because I remember Jerry Barton got done, didn't he, when he was playing? I don't think his was that harsh, but it must have been a lot of money that he'd been putting on. He must have been betting on games he was involved with for it to be that harsh. I mean, there's so many historic events of players betting on themselves, throwing games. I remember Keith Gillespie in his biography said he used to boot the ball out for a throw-in early and bet on it and things like that. So they've got to crack down on it. You can see why players can't bet on themselves because at the end of the day, it is like changing the event of games. And then when there's so much money at stake, like as in staying in the Premier League, and imagine if Toney was like betting that, I don't know, they Brentford draw 2-2 against Leeds, for example, and he just goes through 1-on-1 and hits it wide on purpose. You don't know, do you? So I think the punishment is justified, to be honest.
It's mad though, isn't it? Because Cantona, and everyone talks about the fly kick, that was 9 months. Wow. So a month longer. Jack, do you think it's part of a wider conversation though? Because, you know, we talk about gambling and, you know, we've got a shirt on in the last couple of years where we've had betting sponsors. Betting sponsors are on most Premier League shirts in terms of the amount of teams that actually do have them. We're surrounded by billboards that are talking about gambling. It's probably a wider conversation to say that does it need banning or does it need some sort of regulation?
Well, they are changing the shirt thing, aren't they, in a couple of seasons? But I think it might be a stretch to say that it's not Ivan Toney's fault because he's got a betting logo on his shirt, so we need to give him a break. I think he's a wally, to be honest, and it's his own fault, and the punishment is completely justified because, firstly, he's doing it because he thinks he can get away with it, and secondly, why does he need the money? Like, it's not about... I'd understand it more if he was skint and he was trying to bet on stuff and fix it, but, you know, no sympathy for me. I think the ban 8 months is, you know, if it was 2 years, I wouldn't complain.
I don't think he needs the money. It's just fun.
It's
isn't
just
it?
thrill. It's
an
thrill
adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Go to a casino. There's so much stuff you can bet on. You don't need to do it on professional football when you know the rules. Everyone knows the rules. Everyone signs up to it.
He can impact it, kind of like Harry said. If you go through 1-on-1,
yeah.
We don't know what he's bet on. But
no, but if he has been directly betting on games that he's involved in, that's inexcusable for me, and the ban should be longer, in my opinion.
Now, Harry, you mentioned Joe Barton. Then he got a 13-month ban.
Did he?
Right. But he was found guilty of placing 1,260 bets on football matches between 2006 and 2016, including some that he played in. Then what we got? The FA handed former Lincoln right back Bradley Wood a 6-year ban in April 2018. He'd been deliberately booked during FA Cup victories over Ipswich Town and Burnley during the 2016-17 season. So now the two that are the top bans ever, Enoch West got 30 years, as in 2015, West, 3 fellow Manchester United players and 4 Liverpool players were banned for life for match fixing.
No way.
This was a weird time because the other 7 players had their bans lifted when they enlisted into the army for the First World War. But West didn't, so he had to stay banned because he didn't go. He didn't go and fight.
Remember all the controversy in Italy as well when all like their league was corrupt?
Juventus got stripped of their Scudettos, didn't they? They got relegated. So, you know, there definitely harsher punishments in there. So like Jack says, you know, a 2-year ban probably wouldn't be unheard of.
I know it's a different sport, but I watched a documentary not long ago about the NBA, and they used to like always approach like young college athletes who are like amazing, and say if they were always going to win like by 20 baskets, obviously I don't know what it's called, they would like say to them, look, make sure you only win by 4, and they'd give them like 20 grand to do it, and it was a massive case. So I don't know if that could happen in football. It's a bit harder to like make sure it's free too. You just can't do it, can you? But it's interesting because it gets corrupt, doesn't it?
That's the problem with the thing with American sports is their college system. It's so popular. It's not like watching university football here and anything. It's a massive industry, and 20 grand to those players who probably aren't getting paid like they would if they were in the NBA in a few years' time. It's probably worth the risk. That's the difference. Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, even like NFL, like some of the players who would be on the roster of maybe like 100 players would barely be on anything compared to even if they have a normal job. So you can see where the temptation comes from. Let's move on to quiz time. I'm quiz master this week. Harry's taken a break. So as it is, you know, roughly 20 years since Wolves got promoted under Dave Jones to the Premier League. Oh my God, how is it 20 years ago to begin with? So we're going to do a quiz about that. We'll see how you get on. Harry, I've got you to go first and Jack to go second. Some of these are tough, some of them not so tough. Let's see how you get on. See if you can answer correctly before the comments help you out. So, Harry, who was Wolves' top scorer in that season, 2002-2003?
It's got to be Kenny Miller.
It is Kenny Miller. Do you know how many league goals he got?
21.
You got 19, 24 in all competitions. There you go. Jack, where did Wolves actually finish in the league that season?
Oh, 5th.
5th is correct.
Straight in.
That's an easy one.
Harry, who's automatically promoted?
Wow, that's a good one. I'm going to say... What have I got? Oh, that's really hard. I'm going to guess, I'm probably wrong, Man City and Reading?
Man City was the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
And we beat Reading in the playoff semi-final.
Oh, yeah, we did. Sorry, yeah. Alex Ray, wasn't it? Yeah.
Wasn't Albion.
Leicester?
Be careful how much you give away to each other, because they may be questions.
Oh, sorry.
But
shit.
Do you want to have a guess?
Yeah, Leicester.
Portsmouth and Leicester was what we were looking for.
Wow.
Jack, who made it into the playoffs along with Wolves?
Reading.
Yes.
Sheffield United.
Yes.
Whoever Reading beat in their playoff. Forest.
It is Forest. Well done.
Wow,
Very
fair
good.
play.
Point to Jack. Harry, Wolves lost to Saints in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, but who did we beat on the way? 3 teams in there.
We beat, it must have been the year we beat Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yes.
The Alan Shearer. Bloody hell. I can't remember the other ones.
I
We
can-
beat
I
3
can
teams
remember
on
the
the
one
way.
after Newcastle. I can remember the one after Newcastle. Definitely. I remember being in the pub watching it.
Bloody hell. So Newcastle... Jesus. Nah, firing blanks here. No idea who the other 2 are.
Jack,
That's
are you
a good
going?
question.
I think we played Rochdale after Newcastle.
That is correct. Do
I
you want
remember
to have
that
a
'cause it
guess?
was on
Everyone?
BBC. And then we played someone before Southampton, did we?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
It might have been actually that one after Newcastle. It's Leicester. Leicester
Wow, I don't remember that at all. Like, zero memory.
Yeah. Jack, which player made the most appearances for Wolves that season?
Paul Ince.
No. Harry, you have a guess?
Lescott.
It is Lescott. Very good. Yeah. 52 appearances that season. Dennis Irwin just behind him, 51.
Should have gone with the goalkeeper then, really, shouldn't I? That'd have been a smarter guess than Paul Ince, who was old.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
Matt Murray was
Matt
like twig legs,
Matt
wasn't he?
Murray, he had about 44 games, I think, and all. So he did not too badly. Let's go to Harry now. 2-1 to Jack. Wolves' playoff goals came from whom? And we're just going to go around until you...
I remember, I can get him straight away. Kennedy made me cry when he scored that first one.
Correct. Okay, wait. Now Jack's going. Now Jack's
sorry.
going.
Nathan Blake.
Nathan Blake is correct. Harry?
And Kenny Miller.
Kenny Miller is correct.
Never forget that one.
Keep going.
Keep going. That's it.
Oh, do you mean the playoffs?
The playoffs.
Oh, Alex Ray.
No, that's my go, isn't it?
Oh, sorry.
And I was going to say Alex Ray.
Go on then, Harry.
No, shit. No, that one as well. I remember.
Lee Naylor.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Lee Naylor. And then Jack, go on and finish us off.
That's a hard one. I don't remember
That
this one.
That is a hard one because it's not a Wolves player.
Oh, is it an own
Oh.
goal? I've got no
It was an own
No
goal,
idea.
yes.
Yeah.
I think of a Reading defender.
From 2003.
Jesus Christ.
No idea.
Nah, man.
Graham Murty.
Oh, yeah. Like we're going to get that. If anyone knew that, then bloody hell.
yeah, that would take some special knowledge. 4-4. Lovely. Right, well, we'll leave it there. We'll share the spoils. We'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Just before I go,
Oh,
can I quickly?
I know what's coming here.
I don't think you two are very happy with me because I'm jumping ship tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm going on a different Wolves podcast. So
I'm not just going on any other Wolves podcast.
Wolves fan cast. So we played in a charity game, didn't we, a couple of years ago? Us three and Bayliss. And they're doing it again. We weren't invited this time because no, I don't think they're being nasty, but they're doing it where they're playing against a various amount of other club fan channels like Brighton, Liverpool. They invited Dazzling Dave, which I assume is because he's got the most subscribers, if I had to guess. Because obviously Talking Wolves are big as well, and they didn't invite them. But I won a raffle. They put a post on Twitter. They said, look, 77 Club, do you want to get your redemption? I thought, go on then. They give me 2 teams. I said, right, put me down for Bolton as well. Because as you lads know, every time I speak to someone, if I wonder where they're from and they don't answer me, I always say, oh, you're from Bolton. And they're like, what?
Yeah,
so I chose Bolton. and then Bolton got pulled out. So yeah, just me this time. I'll try and fly the flag for us, lads.
It's mad though, Harry, because of that raffle, you were actually after the Yankee candle set, weren't you? But it had already gone, so you had to go for the Fancast invitation.
Yeah, I've got Harry 77 on the back of my shirt. So yeah, I'm going on their podcast tomorrow because they're talking about the charity game. So obviously it's for Mind, by the way. It's for a great cause, Mind charity. I'll probably put a link actually.
I know where you lost yours long ago.
That's what I'm playing, trying to get my mind back. But yeah, I've got gout these days. I'm unfit, so I won't be much use, but it'll be a good little day. And there we go. Yeah, so tomorrow I'll be on Fancast.
And what date is it, Harry? What date?
Friday, the 2nd of June at 3:00. Well,
there you go. If you can get down there to cheer on Harry and the Fancast lads, then please do. Jack will be sat on the sofa, I imagine, because he probably should have gout if you haven't. But,
I'll be at work. It's a Friday. What sort of day's a Friday? If it's a Saturday, I might come, but come on,
you got annual leave. We'll say goodbye to Jack Williams.
Bye.
That is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.